So it has a good dance floor, and the other one does too. So that's always been a point, is to take care of the dance floors, because you don't know even if you can get wood like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good for school. You've been in the 1901 and 1910, and at one point they put square pillars on it, but a few years ago, uh, the people that own it live in Ohio, and they're Detweilers, and they were trying to put it back to exactly how it was originally, so they got the round pillars and put it on. And they were here until mm, probably the middle of the week. They come quite often. It's a big family, and so a whole bunch of them come, not all always at the same time, but a house full with kids, and
Yeah.
and they like to jump in the river. And I know I had some of my grandchildren with me for, I don't know, probably a week a few years ago. Did you look in the cobbler shop?
I didn't know. We haven't peeked in there.
Um,
That's funny. There's a chain of grocery stores where we live called Detweiler.
really?
Yeah, they're run by the local Mennonite community, though.
Oh, well, that's, Mennonites and Quakers are sister.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're the same. We can look from both sides, but you can see a little bit of the stuff that's in there. But the family was going to open it as a dinner. I think everything is wrong with the world with lack of respect.
Totally.
You know,
That's crazy.
but the buildings that kept the roof on were all preserved. And this was from the original settlers. And you can see
Oh,
like the
Detweilers
thing you
is
make boots over.
Detweilers is spelled very differently.
Yeah, it's Eatwyle.
Ours is Detwiler.
Yeah, and you see it so many different ways. So when you are, in a foreign country, in Switzerland, they, I went there thinking I'd see my ancestors' graves. They have not as much land as we have in America. They just have little grave plots, and it's like you rent them. You have that grave plot for so long, and then it's just like they put the bones in.
Yeah, it was one of our absolute favorite places I've ever been.
Yeah.
We were on our way up for a few days in the Alps, and we stopped and burned for a couple days, and we fell in love with it. So when we discovered that Helvetica had connections to burn, we were like, oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And does Helvetica mean salvation?
Switzerland's true name is the Confederatia of Helvetica. That's the way they say it. It's just spelled the same as we do. This was the barn for that house over there, but at one time they had so many loggers that were living here, making, they were transient, they weren't coming to stay, and so they made a bunkhouse out of that, and upstairs, and then downstairs they had the horses, because you got loggers, they had horses.
Wow.
That's for sure. We had a logging company when we first got married, and we had this was their house, and it was also an inn, so they had a lot of rooms in there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Is that a telescope I see up there on there?
Yeah.
Probably.
That's cool. But there's some beautiful stars in clear nights over here.
Yeah, when I was used to being here, I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, and so I was.
Asking for tours from the video game Fallout 76, people who are fans of the video game. Have you heard of the video game?
No.
Really?
I don't do much computer.
That's totally
I'm
fair.
82 years old.
Do you know the video game Fallout 76?
Heard of it, never played it.
Oh, well, I can show you some photos. I bet you'll find pretty interesting.
Look here. Yeah, this house needs some work now. The lady that owned the restaurant, this was her house, and she left it to, I don't know who in the family, but her grandson lives here. And he is actually, he took classes on how to build structures out of logs out of rocks and everything. So we have our own little rock mason here. He's about 6'7". This and had the store were Hoover's, Huber. So this was the Hoover Inn, and like I said, people came to not only to live here but to work here, and so I guess they had customers all the time. And this family, they had someone that came for a weekend. When would it have been? Maybe, 19, between 1915 and 1925, I would say. And they came here and they brought a little slave girl, their slave. And these people saw how she was ignored and mistreated and everything. So they asked if they could have her. And she stayed here, and she was the only black person ever raised in Helvetica. And she loved pigs, and they would go to church over and then it was German Reform. Now it's Presbyterian Church. And my husband even remembered that whenever after church, she always wore her apron to church, and she would always have candy for all the kids as long as she lived.
It smells so lovely up here.
Yeah, I guess I'm used to it.
Yeah.
And Willie is
Cool and fun places from this game. Because during the pandemic, we spent a lot of time playing it, and as I discovered that they were based off of all these real places with really cool history and stories, we were like, how fun, let's do it.
This is the Malcolm house. You see there, I have dates. But that was Gottlieb Bettler, my husband's great-grandfather. One of his daughters had this house, and one daughter is still living, and she just went. She left for about she was here for a month, and she just left a week or so ago. Hoover Malcolm, 1910 it was built, so it's been very well kept up.
Yeah.
And you know, when original families have it, it's more prone to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And that house, this part was put on probably 25, 30 years ago. It's a big living room, but that's the manse that goes with the church. The ministers, were resident ministers, and now there's not enough people for them to afford a minister for the church. So it was sold from the church about 10, 15 years ago. And it took them a while, but it really looks nice now. They've done a good job. And
How many people live in Helvetia today?
oh my gosh, probably not 80.
Wow.
Because we encompass I live on one of the hilltop farms, and the farms really supported the community as far as keeping it alive and everything, because of course farm families were large families and stayed here because you could make a living on a farm for years. Now you better have a day job if you have a small farm. Not 400, maybe not quite, but about that much. Now this little building used to be a school, and you can see the original parts.
It just flew right in my nose. Hello. Okay.
This original part was the school, and then one of the school teachers who lived here, that was her home until she died then. And the people that have it are doing a good job of swissing it up.
Oh my gosh, you are impressive.
Yeah, looks good.
Oh my god.
She made a friend already.
Oh no. Oh no, look at you. Oh, you're so sweet. Don't go near the road, okay? Don't go near the road. Yeah, don't go near the road.
You say, but you're here now. They have a new baby. Well, I shouldn't say new, but the baby in this house was born probably February, January. So the librarian lives here.
Found a kitten.
She said, I think I want to be held now. This is good.
Does he have those little ghost stripes?
Yeah, he does. He's a smoke.
Huh.
Yeah, there. He's got a smoke coat. Oh, here.
Kittens can never get enough attention.
We have 3 cats over our own.
Do you?
We're big cat fans.
I just have one huge tomcat. Huge.
Yeah, the stripes are cool. That's what the smoke stripes.
And what is that? What are you talking about?
It's when they look like a black cat, but their undercoat is white. It's called a smoke. So,
Oh.
like, you could see, like, he kind of has, like, white stripes in
Uh-huh.
places.
Uh-huh.
And he's not quite a smoke, but sometimes, like, my cat, when we got him, we thought he was an all black. But then when he got older, his undercoat came in, like, a downy gray color.
Kidding.
So he looks like a black cat, but then sometimes he looks really stripish because you can see that undercoat.
Oh yeah,
coming
we
through.
have kittens that look like they were striped at certain times.
But this cat is
Guess he
so
must be doing
sweet.
Really sweet kitten.
Oh yeah.
I'll say that.
Well, when there's kids around, especially, cats don't care if you carry them upside down or they just like attention.
It's good for when
I wouldn't say that.
Will you take a photo of me with this cat?
My cat doesn't like it upside down.
Well, when it was a baby, it would have. I mean, when they're little, they don't.
No, no, could you guys go home?
Oh no, go to bed.
She said, but I live by the road. Maybe I wander around here all the time. But I don't know.
It's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
It's the same color as the red, which makes me a little nervous.
Oh, she likes her the best.
All right.
Who's your brothers and sisters? I thought there was a few of them.
Yeah. What are you doing? You're too
Play.
cute.
Play.
Yeah, you go home.
You always hungry?
Probably never don't. I don't see any of